Yo, guys, welcome back. Ballet, here we go. The video today is going to be on posterior shin splints. So basically, Ballet, this one's for you guys, but also anybody else that moves. So I think that probably qualifies all of us, hopefully. So shin splints, what are they? There's no German name for them. I think they're known across the world as shin splints. We've got two versions of them. We've got anterior, which come here, and we've got posterior, which comes back here. Because one is the anterior tibialis, the other one is the posterior tibialis. So today we're going to talk about the posterior ones because this is what I see the most of. And yeah, quickly, Olga's behind the camera again, so that means Gucci's going to be going bananas. So it's a full house today. I hope that's okay, but let's mach weiter. Let's continue to move here, yeah? So, what I want you to do, if you have pain, if you don't have pain, I want you just to take a few seconds, sit down, bring your foot up just like I did here, and I want you just to kind of start touching behind your bone. And I want to see if it's sensitive or not, yeah? From the top to the bottom. And if it is, that either means you're getting shin splints, you have shin splints, or you're going to get shin splints, yeah? So, with that being said, we want to take a look at a few categories. Mechanics, what causes them? Mobility, what we can do massage-wise and stretching to get rid of them, and then at the end, strengthening, okay? And strengthening will kind of come back into the mechanics of it. So basically, what we need to look at is why are we getting this? Why is this injury coming? What are we doing wrong that's causing it? And shin splints, especially this one here, comes from poor mechanics. So what poor mechanics are we usually doing? So this might not be so much of the dancers, but this is going to be more of the regular athletes. What mechanics, or what mechanic, let's say, causes the shin splint? And usually what we see is it's pronation of the foot. So I keep my foot here. It's going to be when my foot pronates down. Because as this muscle, posterior tibialis, which we're talking about, connects below my foot, as I lose my torque and my ankle falls in, it's putting an extra stretch on that muscle that it doesn't really want or is prepared for. So when I was talking about the mechanics, where they usually come from, we see it from the heel strike in a run. So the heel strike in a run means when somebody's running and they're striking here and the foot pronates down as they come off onto their toe. So right away I can say that we don't... Gucci, can you relax here? She gets a bit excited with these videos. She doesn't want her dad to become too famous. If you're heel striking, stop. It's as simple as that. Kids don't do it. Kids don't get taught how to run. They run correctly. If you think it's correct, take your shoes off, go outside, get on the road and run. You won't heel strike because it hurts. We want to be landing on the front of our foot, and the minute we start laying on the front of our foot, that bad mechanic goes away, and we can start to address the issue, the problem, so it disappears. For the dancers, for people like that possibly aren't running, then it's a different issue. We're looking at possibly a weakness in the arch, in these surrounding muscles. So this is where we're going to discuss what we can do with that. So the mobility, that's the first thing I discussed. One, that means kind of massaging around the area, and also what needs to be stretched. So right away, when we've got an irritation in one muscle, for sure its friends in the neighborhood are also not happy. So we've got to take a look at everything. So before, where we used to go right in and start working on the posterior tib, that muscle back here, we also now want to focus on everything else. We know that that muscle is connecting to the bottom of the foot, so I'm sure we've got some issues going on with the arch that we want to take a look at. We can investigate this, stepping on a tennis ball, stepping on a golf ball, just massaging the area of the bottom of the foot for the arch, and also the insertion of this posterior tib, meaning where it ends. We're going to want to look at this anterior tibialis because we know from the posterior and the anterior that they're working together in an agonist-antagonist, we say, so in opposite fashion. So if this guy's not working well, for sure, the guy that's supposed to do the opposite job is not working well either. So we're going to want to look at the front, we're going to want to look at the back, we're going to want to look under the foot. So there's many mobility videos I have and other people have where we can focus on all of those different areas. That's the mobility. And then we're going to want to look at some of the stretching. Well, right away, we know if we're not able to, for example, Japanese sit, then we're definitely missing some ankle range of motion. If we're coming into a position like this, where my knee cannot go 10 centimeters over my toe, then we're definitely missing some areas of some tightness in my Achilles tendon, if we will, in my heel cord. If we cannot get in a position where I'm able to really straighten my leg like this and get my elbows against the wall, then we're definitely getting some tightness in the calf. So these are all some great stretches in which we can start to lengthen, to stretch the muscles that are causing the tightness. Because if the muscles don't allow the movement, then the movement won't happen, and then we're going to start basically being that Ferrari with a handbrake up. You know, you drive your car with your handbrake up too long, it's going to start smoking and catch on fire. So now we want to look at some of the strengthening exercises. I've got something set up over here. I think this is quite nice for a lot of the dancers that aren't going to be doing a lot of distance. We spoke before that if you are a runner, start running with more proper mechanics and you're going to start strengthening your ankle right away. Some of the dancers aren't fortunate enough to be able to do that, and they've got to find some other ways to strengthen their ankle. So with that being said, this is probably one of the oldest, but still one of the most effective ways to do it. A lot of times we put a soup can or something on the end here, and we just start doing some tower curls. So obviously the towel is going to crunch up on your foot. It's not rocket science. Just get it out of the way and continue to move on. And what this is going to do is this is going to start strengthening that arch so it doesn't always collapse when we're moving with proper mechanics. Again, if your mechanics are poor, your arch is going to collapse. Your foot is going to pronate, but that doesn't necessarily mean your arch collapse. So this is where we're strengthening the arch for dancing positions, for as when they're going up, the arch is stronger. That's going to prevent that pronation of their ankle. So again, we've got the tower curling exercises. Sorry for that tangent there a little bit, but just again going over the mechanics on a deeper level. We've got the tower curling exercise where we can put a soup can on the end. We can pull it all the way in. I would usually suggest this maybe 3 to 5 times. And then we also go this way. And then we can pull it in like this. Again, getting the, let's say, inversion, eversion, God, I haven't said these words in so long. The eversion of the ankle, but also that contraction of the arch. So we would also then pull the chair over, and we would also go this way. And again, we would do this about 3 to 5 times. Now, Gucci, can you chill out for a second? So, again, for the dancers and for the people that are not running that much, these are some fantastic exercises in order to strengthen the arch. But if you just take a look at the simple mechanics of me doing this motion right here, and then imagine if I were to fix my mechanics, and as I were to run, I were to land on the front of my foot and come up, you would notice that I would start getting the same mechanics that I'm practicing with the towel. So something that I say to all of my athletes that play sports that involve running, if you will. Why would we run with bad mechanics, so a heel strike, for 10, 15, 20 kilometers, whatever they're running, and then come back in and practice and exercise for about 5 minutes? So soccer players, that includes you guys, when you're running from ball to, in between the ball to a, when you're running off the ball, we would say in soccer lingo, it's the same thing. If you guys are heel striking, why are we doing so much bad mechanics only to come into the training room, to the physio room, and practice a few minutes of the proper mechanics? So for many of us, we can fix this by simply changing our mechanics and how we run, and focusing on the mobility of the massage, if you will, and also the lengthening of the muscles. For the dancers and for the people that aren't running so much, we need to focus on A, do we have the correct mechanics while we're jumping? Do we have the mobility to give us the right mechanics while we're jumping? And if we do we have the strength and the arch that we need to by doing these exercises to allow the proper mechanic, but also the arch not to fall under the torque and go into an improper position. So I think that gives us an idea of what shin splints are, what causes them, and how we can start undoing what we've done and making our ankle better. Because at the end of the day, the shin splints only come from, I think, poor mechanics, and they should and will be irreversible. So hope that makes sense. Any questions, right on the wall, send me an email. Facebook page, Grand Training Systems. YouTube page, also Grand Training Systems. Like the pages, send me some info, let me know what's going on, and until next week,